For Ijoma, the loss of a father in 2021 remains painful. But what she never expected was the exhausting legal struggle to access the estate. Despite her brother being listed as next of kin, the family has been unable to take possession of or sell their father's apartment.
The lawyer is saying we need those documents. We need the house papers before we can move and do the letter of administration. I see my father's names every time on the newspaper. Dangote shares, Cornell shares. You can't have any access to anything without all those documents. So the money in the Stanbic IBTC pension hanging there. You want to sell this property? If you were to even sell before now, if it was even going to go at all for 30 million, someone told me you will just sell for 15 million. It's a waste of his efforts. He worked to 70. Daddy said he wasn't making a will, that we were just 6 children from one woman. That are we going to go and fight over property? He wanted to sell it. I told him no. I feel bad telling him no now.
Ijoma's experience is not an isolated one. Bettina, who lost a loved one, shared a similar story.
It's been a long time. This is about some 8-9 years ago, but it took almost 6 months before we could access the funds of the person who had passed away. At some point, I was even going to give up and say, you know what, keep this thing, I'm tired, it's too stressful. And I almost think like it's done intentionally to stress people so that at the end of the day, you might just decide that, oh, let me leave it.
At the core of the issue is a widespread misunderstanding about the legal role of the next of kin.
Some account holders know, some don't know, and so they just believe that when they sign the next of kin form, in anything happen. But in some cases also, even the account holders are not interested in anybody coming to claim their money. I've had a case where I told the client, I said, why don't you write a will? The first question he asked me was, you won't kill me, next of kin. It's a general term for who can we call in the event of emergency, not to assess, properties.
When a deceased person leaves no will, a letter of administration is required to manage their estate. These documents, obtained through a lengthy legal process, is often unfamiliar to many until they are caught in the system.
If you have a will, these are just easy things. It's not, you just bring the will and then the bank will need to confirm from the court if this really is a will, and it doesn't take time, maybe between 3 to 6 months, and you have all the funds available. Even with that, I think that's one area I think they should work fast on it. Then me coming up with a letter of administration to the bank will then take it to the legal department take it to the high court, and you're giving me 6 months. I don't think that should be okay. Once you can confirm from the legal department, it shouldn't last more than between 14 working days or 1 month at least.
But what happens to estates left unclaimed?
The central bank came up with a policy that said, look, any fund that has not been used for about 12 years and maybe is not in an estate account, or even if it's in an estate, it has not been used, will be transferred back to the CBN, and the CBN will in turn pay about 9% interest on those funds, and those funds could be used by the CBN or by the government, lending it to the government to use in their capital project.
To prevent the legal battles faced by Ijoma and Bettina, experts advise individuals to take proactive steps.
You can will your phone, you can will an umbrella, you can will a car. Car is even big to will. You can will a book. If, as a young person, you can set up a small company with you, your wife, and children as shareholders, and then you and your wife as directors, and then use that company to acquire whatever you need to acquire. So if that company, all the assets belongs to the company, there is no asset tied to your name, there's no asset tied to your wife's name, but all the assets are in the companies, are held by the company. You don't need a will. You don't even need a letter of administration because there's nothing tied to your name. So in the event of demise, what just happens is a director just died, and so we need to change signature.
As Ijoma and her family continue to navigate the complex legal maze, they hope their story will serve as a lesson to others. In the meantime, experts stress the importance of drafting a will to avoid similar disputes. In Lagos 4 News Central, I am Igbalaniyi Omoniyi.